Good morning to you, to the Cup, and welcome to the champions. Peter Berling, holder of the America's Cup, and skipper of T. Reutai, and Max Urena, skipper of Luna Rossa, and team director. Here we are after 4 years of intense work and a long, beautiful summer here in Auckland. There is a magical moment in the America's Cup history which helps make it a legend. This is a big question mark before the match about the respective speed of the two boats. Unfortunately, we didn't have this magic moment since 2003. We are back now with this much anticipated first leg mystery. A question to Peter Berling. Is the boat speed of each competitor still a mystery for you on the eve of the first race?
Yeah, well, I think it's a mystery for us, just like it is for everyone else. Obviously, we have a pretty good feel, and both the teams have been sailing in a similar patch of water a lot. But until we get to that first race where we actually get to line up and come off the start line together, and that'll be the first time I think both teams will really have a good feel for how that speed's going. But in saying that, that'll only be for one wind strength, one condition, and it looks like a pretty dynamic period in terms of weather. So I think that makes it all the more exciting.
Patrizio Bertelli, CEO of the Prada Group, is with us with Zoom. So we have a question to Mr. Bertelli. Good evening, Patrizio. Are you here?
Sì, buongiorno a tutti.
So,
good morning, everyone, yes?
Patrizio, 21 years after sailing the match against Team New Zealand, here you are again today. Are you more confident than you were 21 years ago?
Io direi che in queste situazioni non siamo mai tranquilli.
Well, you can never be that confident in this kind of situation. It's 21 years later, we're still here for the final match, and we'll see what happens. But I agree. I mean, we don't really know much about boat speed. We can kind of guess, but of course we don't know exactly. Much will depend on the wind conditions, wind shifts. We'll see.
It seems that the whole of your country can't wait the first leg of the first race. What is the situation there on the eve of the first race?
Mi sembra tanta aspettativa anche inaspettata.
Well, we do feel a lot of expectations, of course, and we know we're in for something unexpected too at the same time. But yes, we're pretty much waiting for this. It's a sport, and we should always see it as a sport. We shouldn't be obsessed with it. But yes, I'm sure there's a lot of expectations for this sporting event.
Thank you. You will answer some questions from Zoom later. I have a question to Peter. Peter, do you anticipate the races to be decided on pure speed or on transitions, jibes, tacks, mark roundings, boat handling?
I think it'll be a bit of a combination of all of the above. And I think that's the really cool thing about the class of boat that both ourselves and Luna Rossa have come up with, is that they are very dynamic. They're obviously very fast in a straight line, but they also give you a good ability to do a lot of manoeuvres and to do those manoeuvres at a relatively low cost. So, we're definitely preparing for a really tight yacht race, and I'm sure they will be as well.
Max, the America's Cup final is often very one-sided. Do you expect this one to be closer?
I'll let you know tomorrow afternoon. To be honest, we don't know. I mean, there is a lot of guess. There is a lot of people know already the final result. I think in sport is a final. There is a lot of pressure on top of both teams, and I think we got nothing to lose, so we're going to give everything in the water to try to make them another life. But I don't know. I think it's hard to judge performance by just watching the two boats sailing. We know they're fast because we sailed against them more than 2 months ago, and we saw them sailing during few practice a few weeks ago against the American and the English. But I don't know. I think it's too early for me. I don't have the crystal ball. But the only thing I can tell you, we're gonna give everything, and Is this morning just had a team meeting with the team, and is a lifetime opportunity, and we will give everything to try to take the opportunity.
Thank you. These boats are very mysterious and very high-tech, so we have added a new segment in the press conference. We have asked a formidable technical guru to come every day with some sophisticated questions. He's a friend, he's an Olympic champion, someone who could easily have sailed on a boat here in Auckland. He's part of the world TV coverage, but he has accepted to come every day. Please welcome Nathan Outridge. So, Nathan, it's your turn now to ask very tough questions to each of the skippers.
Thanks, Bruno. Kind words from you. My first question's to Pete. These are a bit more technical. It's a bit about the AC75 design. You know, obviously, as a helmsman, you're quite involved in that. Can you explain some of the key decisions that have been made along the way and what you like most about this boat and your boat in particular?
Yeah, obviously a pretty tricky question to answer without giving too much away, but I think firstly, these boats were very much a concept. 3-4 years ago now, and I think it's probably exceeded everyone's expectations in terms of what they can do and with how quick they do get around a racetrack. But very much for us as a syndicate, we've really tried to push the speed aspect. At the end of the day, you talk to anyone about America's Cup yacht racing, and if you're not fast enough, you're not in the yacht race. We've done everything we can to try and get the fastest package possible, and more in recent times, it's been around making sure we don't have any massive downsides to that. So we've pushed very hard to have our hull very hydrodynamically low drag at the takeoff points, and we're really happy with the package we've put together. But looking across the way, the Italians have put together a pretty nice package as well. So I think that's what makes it all the more exciting come tomorrow.
Thanks, Pete. Max, my question's a little bit more to do with the foils. Clearly, that's a big part of these boats. Your foils look quite a bit bigger than Team New Zealand's and the Y shape. Can you just give a little bit of an insight to the design philosophy, why it's not the T foil and why you went the Y foil, and the area differences? It's been rumoured to be 30% difference in size. Are you happy with the decision process to get to where you are today?
Well, the America's Cup is a design process, is a design game. We start our campaign with a really tiny foil, and then we move back to, we look what the other guys they did, and we did a step forward on size of the foil, but we tried the T-foil on the little boat. So we actually evaluate all the aspects of different shape and different dihedral or T or different type of shape of the foil. At the end is a decision which is taken by the sailor, by the designer, and you cannot design a completely overall boat. And I think you need to target your boat according to what you believe you're going to face in terms of weather during the campaign. And then, at the end, the America's Cup typically is winning by the boat, because the level of the sailor, you are expecting the level of the sailor super high, because otherwise they're not going to be involved in the Cup. I think it's hard to judge. We took a different path compared to them. For sure, they went for a lower drag, hydro drag in the water with their design. They're sailing. I think the Kiwi boat really represent Pete. Is his way to sail. If you look him sailing on the 49er, he sail on the edge all the time. So they push the limit on what they think is the best, and at the end is a game, is a sport, and we'll see who is coming ahead.
Thanks, Max. One more for Pete. The starting's really different, upwind starts, to what we're doing in Bermuda. Clearly, different tactics and that are involved. Is there anything that you learnt during the AC World Series that has changed the way you approach the starting from Bermuda, and what can we expect tomorrow in the pre-start from you guys?
Well, I think what you can expect from us tomorrow, you probably have to wait and see. We don't want to give them too many tips, but probably the biggest difference from Bermuda is it's very hard to actually tell, who's got the jump off the line. A lot of the times, you do get a lot more starts that are very even, and they're not really. There isn't really a clear leader until a long way up the first beat. Whereas Bermuda, we're always kind of someone would generally be leading or following, come that jibe mark. But in saying that, probably the other big difference to Bermuda is also that we're in a confined space now. In Bermuda, we could kind of go as far away from the line as we wanted, and then come back. Where here, you're very much playing within the boundaries. So there's a couple of main differences there, but I think it's really created a lot more interaction between the boats, and a lot more intrigue as to who's actually got the better starts. So we're learning all the time. We obviously learn a lot during the Christmas Cup, but we've also learned a lot, watching the Challenger Series, unfold. And we've been putting a lot of those learnings into practice, racing our chase boats. So it's not quite like racing a real boat. So we've obviously, Prada's probably got the jump on us there slightly, but we feel like we're as ready as we can be.
With just follow up, in Bermuda it seemed like the leeward end was often the favoured end because you get the inside rounding at Mark 1. Do you think there's a favoured end, like windward boat, leeward boat, in all the racing you've seen so far?
I don't think there's, a massive pattern. I think definitely the person that has the best speed off the line, if they're in a windward or leeward position, generally does better out of the boundary. And we've seen a lot of starts where the leeward boats won, where they've managed to get rid of the windward boat off their hip, or we've seen a lot of starts where the windward boats held the leeward boat all the way to the boundary and hurt them on the way back out. So I think it's really about making sure you've got either good gauge and good speed if you're the windward boat, or you've got good speed if you're the leeward boat. So either way works.
Cool, thanks. And Max, last question, bit to do with racing as well. You've got Francesco Bruni, who I did a bit of sailing with in Artemis in Bermuda, and Jimmy Spittle. How's that relationship going, and what's the mood in the team, and how are they feeling ahead of this racing? I hear Jimmy's got a bit of revenge planned. What's Bruni's take on this whole thing? Because he seems to be a bit more quiet in general. What's the mood like?
Well, it's been an interesting process, to put the two together, because they're really at the opposite side, one compared to the other. But on the same time, I think is actually what make them working well. And we know it was taking a little bit of time because we need to understand the fact that they're pretty different in terms of character and behave, but they are super talented. They are pretty strong in the pre-start. They have a pretty long history in match racing. They're really good sailor, and but on the same time, it took a little bit too long because it's like splitting the time. No, a guy like Pete, he steer 100% the boat. This guy, they steer 50% of the time. No, if you consider they're helming on different tack. I think they grow quite a lot during the race. I think racing for us and going through the semi-final, the repechage, and sailing against Ineos has been a good thing because we put the team under pressure, and it was good to lose the race against the Ineos during the final because it wake up us. And at the end, the pre-start is going to be important, but it's not going to be just there. I mean, the race is going to be long. There is boundary. You need to protect if you are ahead the position. And so let's see. But they are going well alone, and they are supporting each other. And I think they both transmit and give different behavior in terms of character more than from a technical point of view, which is great.
Thank you, Nathan.
Great. Thanks. Best of luck, guys.
So questions from the floor? Yes.
Hey guys, Abby Wilson from One News. I don't know about all the other journos here, but I feel like we've asked a lot of questions of you guys, especially with the delay. We've covered off so much. If you could ask each other one question and the opponent had to tell you the truth, I don't expect you to, but if you could ask one question of the opponent, what would it be, Max?
What did you have for breakfast this morning? I think everyone is really looking forward to go out racing, and anyway, whatever question I'm going to ask him is going to tell me what he wants. So it's not what I want. So let's go out racing tomorrow and see what happens. But I think it's been a long period since we moved. Well, a long campaign, no, with everything in the middle, no, COVID. A lot of talking out of the water, and sometimes we talk too much about what happened out of the water than what is being done in the water, which is bad for our sport. But on the same time, it's the America's Cup, and we need to accept that. I think I know, I don't want to say really well, but I know well Pete, and I know he's a tough guy. I know he's a good guy. He's a good sailor. He's a guy which won in the same year the Olympic game, the America's Cup, and almost the round the world. So he's already shown he doesn't have any more questions to give. I hope it doesn't give too much next week.
Pete, questions to Max?
Yeah, so if he had to answer, I don't expect him to, but if you knew that he would answer a question and tell the truth, what would it be?
Yeah, I'm probably like Max. I haven't really thought about this too much.
Is there anything you still want to know about their boat? Any sort of real mysteries?
Yeah, well, there's obviously mysteries, but it's something that everyone's pretty committed down their design path now. We're past the measurement declaration, so it really doesn't change, I suppose, anything we're doing as a team. As speaking for us as a team again, we're very much down the pathway we want to be, and right now we've obviously been watching their every move with our recon for the last 3 or so years, like they have to us. I think both teams know each other incredibly well. Obviously there were a lot of people in Luna Rossa Prada in Luna Rossa Prada now that were in Emirates Team New Zealand last time in the America's Cup. So, like when Max says, we know each other quite well. We were teammates in the last one. So it's something that we're I think really looking forward to a good battle out there on the water, and I think that's really the next level of intrigue for us is that if you could figure out who's actually going to be quicker in what conditions, but that's something only time will tell.
Thank you, Richard Gladwell.
So it's a question for Max. Last time you were up here, you told us your boat had a bit of a birthday and got a new mast and sails and wings. What did it get for its birthday this time?
Well, we obviously we have a new set of sail for the full range, and we did a few changes to the foil. We did a few changes from an aerodynamic point of view, and we improved a few systems just to make the transition faster. And then it's hour in the water. I mean, we need to keep in mind we only race this boat 16 times, which is nothing. We are still at the beginning of this class, and I really hope whoever is going to win this cup is going to keep going with this class, because I think it's the most exciting boat I ever sailed and worked in my life. And I mean, at the end, as Pete said, a week ago we declared our boat, and this is what we got, and this is what we're going to use for the next coming race. And we feel confident with the boat. We know they're going to be faster. We know they're going to be hard to beat. But, I mean, it's a game, it's sport.
Sure. One for Peter. I think a lot of fans are still coming to grip with what an AC75 is like to sail on. Can you compare it to a 49er and maybe a Volvo 65 in the Southern Ocean? I mean, what's it closest to? I know that's quite an extreme, but...
Yeah, well, I think it's definitely more like a 49er or a Moth or, a small boat. And, I think the incredible thing about these AC75s is they're a massive boat, but just how actually dynamic they are to sail. The boat weighs, over 5 tonne, and it's, feels like it's a very little boat, and it's very dynamic and, quick with how it moves. And, I think it's pretty incredible to see a boat of that size being thrown around like all the teams are doing now, and doing the speeds that they do now. And I think it's just interesting to see where it goes from here.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Richard. Yes.
Question for Pete. Pete, have you analysed Luna Ross's pre-start routines and practiced against them using, artificial intelligence on the simulator?
Well, we've definitely watched a lot of their races and a lot of their training, and it's something that these teams are pretty massive. Our team's we've got about 100 people, working for Team New Zealand at the moment. Sorry, probably a few less, but 100 at the peak. And there's people that their job is really to just analyse the other team, whether they're changing equipment or whether there's patterns kind of unfolding. And it's something that we've really tried to prepare for all scenarios, because I'm sure they'll throw something different at us come race one.
And are you feeling fairly confident that you are well prepared for that now?
Well, I think we're as well prepared as we can be. And that I think gives us a lot of confidence. Always when you go into these things, there's something that you won't have prepared for, but we've really tried to prepare for every scenario possible, and we're really happy with the progression we've made as a team since the Christmas Cup.
A couple more. Yes.
Yeah, Chris Steele, LiveSail, Diet Media. Question to both teams. First, maybe Pete. You've had a lot of opportunities to see Luna Rossa with the onboard audio and cameras for the racing in both the Prada Cup semi-finals and the finals. Have you identified where you think they're going to be strong in relation to you guys? And, have you made any changes to your boat to try and implement those gains and losses around the racetrack?
Well, I think it's been great to watch the media package that I suppose everyone in this room has, and it's definitely pretty incredible images and pretty cool to see 2 boats flying around the racetrack at high speed. But I think from watching it, they don't have too many weaknesses, but it always ends up coming down to that speed question. I think the biggest difference between, say, Ineos and Luna Rossa was Luna Rossa had a quicker boat speed in a lot of conditions. So, that's the thing we're really, I suppose, is the great unknown right now, is just how that is going to shape up. And we're really happy with how our boat's going, but until we actually get to race that first race, we don't know for 100%.
Yeah, and then Max, obviously you haven't had the same opportunity to see Team New Zealand since the Christmas Cup. They've obviously made a lot of changes to the equipment and the boat. Do you have any idea how you guys are going to fare against that? You've improved a lot with your boat speed since then, but obviously the focus has been on first American Magic and then Ineos Team UK. Now that you're going to be racing the Kiwis, where do you think the boat's going to line up?
Well, it's hard to tell. As I said, it's hard to judge performance by just watching them sailing. We don't have any data of them apart from just a little from the Christmas Cup. So it's a little bit of an unknown. We know they're fast because once we sailed against them, they were pretty fast. Was almost 3 months ago, and we saw them sailing during practice against American Magic and Ineos. And so again, it's hard to tell where the difference they're going to be. We know we have some strength in certain condition. We know we could be strong in the pre-start. We follow them. We monitor on them in their practice day. We sail in the last 2 weeks just a few hundred meters apart, and we never line up. And which both teams, they were a little bit skeptical to stay too close. And I don't know. Maybe we should ask. I mean, there is well, let's move forward.
All right, good luck to both teams.
Thank you. Yes.
Peter, is it true or not you have two skippers in the pre-start?
Yeah, well, definitely a lot of questions have been asked about the way we sail the boat, and no, I can say that we've sailed the boat exactly the same way we sail it now for the last 2 years. If anyone watched the Christmas Cup, there's some manoeuvres where we change sides, there's some where we don't. And we sail it in the same way we always have. And it's something we'll continue to do it like that. Yeah. We're actually really looking forward to the pre-start. It's probably the area we've done the most work on, and probably were the most short on coming into the Christmas Cup. Coming into the Christmas Cup, we'd only really had our new boat in the water for 3 weeks, and hadn't really done a lot of the more complicated manoeuvres you end up doing in the pre-start, which we've done a whole heap of practice on since then. So it's one of the areas of excitement coming into this America's Cup.
Yes, Machian.
Hi, Matt Sheehan. Question for both of you, really. I'll start with you, Pete, though. Pete, you've got all the data on them because you've been watching them race, and they've got all the race practice, and they haven't got the data. If you could have either, which would you prefer to have, and how much do you wish you had that race practice?
Oh, I've been asked this question a few times as well, but it's always an interesting one because we don't really get the choice. It's something that the schedule's looked exactly like it's looked for, 2.5 years, 3 years now. So, it's something that for in our planning, we've always really tried to aim at what we've been aiming at. It's been a massive area of opportunity for us to be able to continue developing our boat. We haven't had to be in a rule legal configuration. We've been able to keep rolling on new bits of equipment and really push that development and then obviously the flip side of that is you don't get as much racing. So we've really been working hard in our simulator and on the water and drills to kind of combat the lack of racing, and we really feel like we've done a good job as a team to develop the boat and also develop the way we sail it. But the only real tell is what's going to happen tomorrow, and come the weekend, it's a pretty quick schedule from now out. So it's really going to be who learns the quickest after the first couple of days.
Max, how much would you like the data and you've raced obviously more than anybody else. Well,
you need to be the defender to dictate the rule, and rules are there, and they get the access to the data. Obviously, is a key thing, especially if you got time, to develop or to do any change. But again, we're gonna race tomorrow, and let's see how it goes. Obviously, I think what we really missed in this campaign is the fact to do no race in Cagliari and in Portsmouth. I think that was probably give a different America's Cup for all of us. We could improve quite a lot the boat, but again, I don't think there is. For sure you learn something by having the data, but at the end you are committed with your design package. So unless again you are the defender, you can really have an advantage. But as a competitor, you have to race against the other challengers, so you don't have even time to do any change or build a new component because it's taking time. You have to design. It's not just so. It's a good thing for the defender for sure. But again, they're the defender because they won the previous cup. So good for them.
Thank you. One last question, sir.
Tom McRae, TV3. Max, a couple of the Italian newspapers came out and called Kiwi sailing fans and some commentators arrogant and showing you disrespect. How do you feel?
Who is disrespectful? Us or?
Not showing you, Luna Rossa, any respect.
We are. You guys are irrespectful or us? Sorry.
No, that the Kiwi sailing fans and some of the commentators in this country writing you off, haven't shown you the due respect.
Well, no. It's different, and I think the people here in New Zealand are pretty supportive, and they are actually behind us. I'm actually surprised how many people I meet when I walk from home to base. And no, I was pretty upset with few journalists when I think was related to the lockdown when they postponed the race of the final, I guess, against Ineos. I mean, I was embarrassed by few journalists saying the Italian and Luna Rossa are unrespectable on respect to New Zealand because we are guests of the country, there is COVID-free and so on. I think those people, they should study a little bit more before talking. I don't like to talk about other people unless I really know well the other people. So wherever and whoever is talking like that, I don't even consider these people. I don't even, so I'm embarrassed for them, not for me, to be honest.
Thank you. Zoom.
So first question is from Magnus Whitley, Blog World 69.
Two very specific questions.
Magnus.
Hi there. Hi guys. Two very specific questions. First one, have either of you recorded speeds in excess of 57 knots? Just a yes or no answer. And the second question, in the simulator, apart from the starting practice, what has been the most practiced maneuver that you have taken part in?
Who first?
I'm going to start. No to the 57 knots and probably tacking for the most practiced maneuver.
No, I can tell you we touched 53.4. This is our best record. And, well, simulator, we try everything. We give obviously good importance to the usage of the simulator, and we try a lot of drill for pre-start and during the race course. And yeah, it's a good tool as long as it's providing you the right information, obviously.
Thank you. Next question.
Next question is Gaia Picardi from Il Corriere della Sera.
Gaia.
Bonjour, Bruno. Hi, everybody. My question is for Peter. Peter, I'd like to know if you could take one man, just one man, of Luna Rossa, who would it be and why? Thank you.
A lady. I guess you choose a lady,
Max.
man.
No.
Okay, I'm happy.
Another one? Gaia, one more?
Say mute.
Peter, was that an actual answer?
No, I answer for him. No, don't worry about it.
So, okay, I'm going to ask another. If I can, I'm going to ask another question to Max. Max, please. Since you first met these guys back in Auckland, America's Cup 2000, you never beat them. So what makes you think that this time is going to be different?
Well, in my career, if I can call career my past 25 years, I don't really look the past. I don't like to, because every campaign or every race is different. So I'm not really focused too much in the past. I'm really focused on what happened next. And I mean, at the end, the sport, we race against the best in the world, and to try to beat the best in the world, you need to just be better than them. So the only way for us to beat them if we sail well and we have a good speedboat.
Thank you, Gaia. Next, Joe.
Next is Justin Chisholm, York Racing.
Hi, my question's for Max and for Peter. You've both said that we won't know who has the upper hand in this match until the racing starts on Wednesday. That's fair enough, but as individuals, as human beings, can you tell us each of your levels of confidence going into the match and whether you have any worries that you might get a big surprise from your rival?
Max.
Well, what I can tell you is my personal feeling, which it doesn't mean is the feeling of everyone, even if I just had a team meeting this morning to the whole team, and everyone is really ready to go out racing tomorrow. And the message I passed to them, we got nothing to lose. We can only win. And we race against the defender. We race against the team, which proved to be one of the best teams in the world for the last 35 years. And I don't have I don't have a crystal ball, so I don't know if they're going to be surprised or not. But what I can tell you, I feel more confident this time than all the other time I race against them. But then it's my personal opinion.
Thank you, Peter.
Yeah, well, I think speaking for Team New Zealand here, we've really come here to try and keep the America's Cup here in New Zealand, and our whole campaign has been built around doing everything we can to arrive on the start line tomorrow in the best possible shape we can do that. And no, I don't have any, I suppose, regrets in terms of the decisions we've made along the way. It's been a pretty incredible campaign. Obviously there's been a lot of, I suppose, changes going along, especially with the COVID environment, not being able to have the warm-up events that Max touched on, and a lot of different situations getting thrown at us. But I think at the end of the day, we're here now, and tomorrow's the day where it all gets exciting, and we actually get to go and race and find out for real.
Thank you, Pete.
Next person is Fabio Pozzo, La Stampa.
Hi to everybody. I have two questions, if I can. The first to Mr. Bertelli in English and then in Italian. Patrizio, how much do you trust on the boat and how much on the skill of your sailor? Patrizio, quanto confidi sulla barca e quanto confidi sulla bravura dei tuoi velisti?
Allora, certamente mi fido di entrambe le cose. Abbiamo fatto
Well, I certainly trust both. We came a long way. And as I agree with Max, it was a good thing that we lost against Ineos. That gave us an opportunity to go on with development. So I should say we are confident. We did our work at best, both on the boat and with the team. So I completely agree with Max when he says this is the best condition we ever found ourselves in the last 20 years of regattas.
Thank you. Could I?
Yes, go on.
Yes, okay. And the second one to Barling. Pete, tell us the truth. Do you really think you have the fastest boat?
I definitely hope so. Yeah, I definitely think there, a lot of conditions where I'm relatively confident we do have a faster boat, but there's obviously a lot of conditions where Luna Rossa has proved to be very strong, especially against some of the other challenges. But a lot of those have been areas that we've been making some pretty big strides forward in the last few months. Especially in our light air sailing, which was probably our biggest weakness in the Christmas Cup. I really feel like it's the area we've improved the most on in the last couple of months. So it's been a pretty good period of development for us as a team. So we're really excited about getting into this first race tomorrow.
Thank you. Two last questions from Zoom. Two more.
Jack Griffin, Cup Experience.
Hi, thanks for taking the question. First of all, best of luck to both teams. Really looking forward to the racing. Following up on the light air sailing, two questions to Pete, both relative to the Code Zero that we've seen you guys sailing around with. Number one, do you see anything in the forecast that says that you might be using it? And number two, in the training that you've done, did you train hoisting and dropping it, or was it just put it up and use it and leave it up?
Yeah, well, we can do whatever we want really with it. Looking at the forecast, it does look like a pretty dynamic period over the weekend. It really depends, how this low that's coming past New Zealand tracks to see whether it's going to be light or windy. But it's just another thing that we wanted in our arsenal to try and make it to the end of light air races. And obviously we had that race in the Christmas Cup where we were racing against Ineos, where we couldn't quite get down the last run to make the time limit. And definitely with that sail, we'd be able to get to the finish, no worries.
Okay, one more.
Last question is Michele Tognozzi, Farevela.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Question for Max Irene and Mr. Bertelli. The same question. Luna Rossa has been one of the protagonists of the America's Cup in the last 20 years. In 2000, Sir Peter Blake told you that the cup must be chased and that we must try again until it is won. So the Luna Rossa team has worked hard day by day with the right attitude and has always improved its performance. So I would like to know what is your personal feeling and how would you describe your team in this collective effort? First Max and then, if possible, Mr. Bertelli. Thanks.
Well, again, Luna Rossa is involved for almost 20 years now, and 20 years ago we were in the final of the Cup. We together with Patrizio, which is the guy really behind the team. I mean, without him, Luna Rossa is not going to be able to achieve what he did. And but yeah, we took the experience of the past campaign and the experience of the individual in different team and try to build something different compared to the past, to try to work out where we felt a little bit weak in the past experience. And I think you really see this change during from the Christmas Cup to the final, of the Prada Cup final. I think we had quite a big up and down, and we received with merit a few bad critics from the media and from public, which was correct. And in the past, we never really react well enough on that, and so we work pretty hard to make sure, even from an attitude and approach point of view, able to get together stronger and stronger after a race, even regardless if we win or losing race. I mean, after the second day of the Christmas Cup, everyone was saying Luna Rossa is going to go home the first week. The same happened during the round robin, and then the same happened during the semi-final against American Magic. And then it happened again against Ineos, A lot of people saying that the Italian, they're going to go back home crying. Now we are in the final. There is people saying the Italian, they will need a miracle to beat the Team New Zealand, And I mean, I'm pleased to race the final. Let's go out racing tomorrow and let's see what's going to happen. If they're going to beat us, it just means they did a better work than us. I mean, in sport, you cannot find any other, justification. You cannot justify yourself. If they beat you in the water, they've just been better than you.
Thank you. You have a question to Mr. Bertelli?
Yeah, the same question for Mr. Bertelli, yes.
Go on.
So, the same question, how we can describe his
dei momenti un po' che non abbiamo proseguito con la stessa tendenza.
Yeah. Actually, I agree with Max. There were some times where we were not as attentive as we are now. For instance, in San Francisco, we were not as persuaded as we are now. But I would also like to point out something which I think is very important. If you put 100 people together, you're not necessarily building a team. I mean, this is something that many people in the team that get to know each other, form a kind of family. But that's not enough to create a team. It's not as obvious, as evident as that. So these last 20 years we've spent putting teams together, have been teaching a lot, not just to the people who need to build a team, but also to the team members themselves. This creates a kind of an atmosphere and a way of behaving, a way of living, which is totally different from just sticking 100 people together and calling them a team. And also we have a lot of young people, but you know, many times the young people in this team, well, some are actually the offspring of our past team members, but also we want to transfer the know-how we have accumulated to younger people, and they actually share a lot. Actually, you know, doing a campaign in the America's Cup means living together for years and years. It's about daily life. It's about little details. It's not just the big picture. It's not just top technology all the time. You also need to live with the others day in, day out. And I'm thinking of the whole team, like our secretarial staff, or the chef who cooks for everyone, people who are not as visible as our sailors. I mean, everybody in the team is absolutely fundamental to help really build a united team. And it really feels like a family. We've seen it all. We've seen marriages, we've seen children, we've seen all sorts of family life within the team. So I may sound presumptuous, but I think that the only two real teams we have around right now are Luna Rossa and Team New Zealand.
Thank you very much.
And it's not a chance they are actually in the match.
Thank you very much. So we learned a lot tomorrow. We have now a photo call with the Cup and the skippers. And the forecast for tomorrow, we certainly sail on course A,